Hi, my name is Paul Xavier. I'm the founder of the Next Level Creators Program, and this is the Go Creative Show.
Hey everyone, my name is Ben Consoli. I am a director and owner of BC Media Productions, and this is the Go Creative Show, the show dedicated to creative professionals in the video production and filmmaking industries. Today we speak with Paul Xavier from the Next Level Creators Program. Paul and I discuss some of the challenges that creatives face when it comes to growing their video production business, and we provide tips on how to overcome them. It's all about building your business, people, so strap in. The Go Creative Show is supported by Rule Boston Camera, Buy, Rent, Create at Rule.com, NewsShooter.com, essential news for real-world shooters, Hedge.video, Shutterstock.com, and PremiumBeat.com. Well, this is an exciting episode, and it's an exciting time. It's January, beginning of the new year, 2019. And I don't know, if you guys are anything like me, this is the time of year where I sit back and think about, what did we do right last year? What can we do better this year? It's all about bettering yourself, bettering your company, making more money, becoming, involved with larger projects, more fulfilling work. That's what we're talking about here at BC Media Productions. Certainly, that's what this month is all about. And it's the perfect time to invite Paul Xavier on the show because he is the founder of the Next Level Creators Program. And what they do is basically they help you become a bigger, better, more profitable production company. That's what they do. The information we cover today is for all size businesses. You could be massively successful already. You can just have a couple of small clients and want to grow, or you may not even have created you may have not turned your talents into a business just yet. We cover all of those bases, and there's tons of great information here from Paul Xavier. You guys are going to love this one. But before we get there, I want to talk about Hedge. What is Hedge? Hedge is a backup software for filmmakers. It's as simple as that. And you want it to be simple. Think about it. You're on set. You're managing your own media. So you're your own DIT. Camera operators, audio techs, behind-the-scenes photographers, everybody's giving you their media cards. And now it's your responsibility to make sure that all of this stuff is backed up correctly. What you want is easy. What you want is fast. And what you want is reliable. And those are the three things you're going to get with Hedge. And that's why I use them all the time. So I can import multiple sources and send them to multiple destinations at the same time, which is huge. So I take all those media cards, I plug in my hard drives, I press the transfer button, get it all set up in Hedge, press transfer, and it's all done in the background. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it because when the transfer is done, I got a notification right on my phone, thanks to my Hedge Connect app that I've got right there on my iPhone. So I know everything that's going on all the time. I get notified when it's done. I don't have to worry about anything. I know that the media has been backed up correctly. It's been backed up to all of my destinations. What does this mean? Peace of mind. That's what it means. That's why I love it. They're constantly updating the app, so you're always going to get the best new features. And there's a ton of different pricing options. So you can get a free trial. You can get project licensing if you just want it for one project. And if you get the full license, you get 20% off by simply typing in Go Creative Show in the coupon code at checkout. So it's super easy to start using Hedge. Now, for those of you that use LTO for your backups, I've got some great news because Hedge takes the simplicity that they have used for their Hedge app and basically bring it over to a new app for LTO called Canister. So if you go to hedge.video/Canister, take a look around there. If you guys, even if you're just interested in LTO backups, it is a great way and a simple way to make those backups happen. So definitely check that out as well. So it's all there at hedge.video, and for Canister, hedge.video/Canister. All right. It's time to jump into our interview with Paul Xavier. Get your notebooks out, kids, because you're going to learn a lot. So I'm here with Paul Xavier from MrPaulXavier.com, and the guy that you probably have seen on Facebook and Instagram for the past year or so and said, who is this guy and what is he doing and why is he always in my feeds? We're going to find that out today. Paul, thank you so much for being on Go Creative Show.
Absolute pleasure, Ben. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on for two reasons. One, like I said earlier in the intro, I've been kind of seeing you and hearing about you, and it's one of those things where you're like, all of a sudden you're everywhere, and I need to know what you're doing. And when I started learning about what you're doing, I said, this is perfect for the Go Creative Show audience. And the second reason I'm excited is because it's January. It's the beginning of 2019, and this is the time period where everybody's looking inward and saying, what can I do? How can I become better for the new year? It's the perfect timing to have you on, so welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I couldn't agree more. I think our audiences and your audience is going to get a lot of value from the conversation we'll have today.
Tell us about yourself. I guess, who are you? What are you doing? I go to your website and it says Business Mastery for Production Teams, Filmmakers, and Directors. I go to your Instagram and I see, what's the quote here? I wrote it down. I help video experts get to 6, 7, and 8 figures. Free training on how to 10x your video production business. These are all very tempting claims here, and I'd love to hear more about who you are and what you do.
That's a great question. So essentially, I have created a business mastery program and community. That's really more than anything. It's a community of filmmakers, video experts, directors who, some of them have 50 years experience. They have Emmys that they've won. They've got tons and tons of knowledge. And we work together in a collaborative way to scale companies, to build production companies from the ground up, whether it's a brand new person who's trying to break into the filmmaking industry, to break into being a production company. How do we get that first client when you have no experience, when you have no case studies, when you have no highlight reel even? And how do you value yourself? These are a lot of the big struggles that filmmakers deal with on a daily basis, or directors deal with on a daily basis, is how do I start monetizing my passion for video? Or how do I break into the industry and turn it into a real living for myself? And that's really what we do there at Next Level Creators. Is we've created a training and a community and a way for us to work one-on-one and in a group setting with, at this point in time, we're working with roughly 370 or so filmmakers, directors, and help them thrive and break through whatever the bottleneck is on their company at the point, whether they're trying to get to 6 figures, because that's the big goal for them. No matter what, that's why it's called Next Level Creators. Everyone always wants to get to the next level.
Yeah.
Right. If you're at $500,000 a year, you want to get to $1 million. Right. What are the problems that we have to break through there? A lot of it's going to be, how do we stop selling your time for money and productize what you do, put more systems in place, create a proof of concept, and really scale that. So that's it.
I'd love to know about the pain points that you're hearing from your clients, and we can basically start with mine. I mean, one of the things that I'm having problem with with my production company, and I've been doing this since 2005, is there's always that ebb and flow between finding clients and then doing the work. And there's kind of these peaks. So, there'll be there'll be a time where it's all meetings and all getting clients and going to networking events and finding people. And then you get all your clients and then you do all the work. And while you're doing the work, you're not getting your clients anymore. And it's sort of the cycle repeats over and over again. And that's something that I'm trying to level those peaks in my business. And I'm curious if that's something that's common that you're seeing with your, I guess I keep saying clients, but I don't even know what to call them. I guess your community.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge problem we deal with. Some of our clients, I'll just give an example. Johnny Eaker over at Cosmic Sauce, he was dealing with that same thing. And then the cash flow cycle issues that come up in your business. A lot of people don't talk about the business side of things. So the cash flow of, we've got a project now. It's a big project. It's a $30,000 video or commercial we're going to shoot for someone. But then you're getting 50% up front. The client draws out the post-production process. You don't get the other 25, 50% upon closing as quickly as you would have liked. So the cash flow in this business model can be very, very worrisome at times. And so there are a number of ways to tackle that exact issue, Ben, and it really depends on your vision of what you want to do. I am a huge believer in working with less clients, but working with them in a more in-depth basis. So what I mean by that is, instead of selling one-off commercials to business owners, I'm a huge fan of doing either content retainers or commercial campaigns. And those are two very distinct, very different value propositions than a one-off video project. And the content retainer would be a relationship where you're working with your client on an ongoing basis to produce content that is going to speak to the different customers along their journey of working with that business. Because sure, once when a business is trying to get its message out there and no one knows who this business is, we need to get a hook in front of them. We need to communicate a lot of value really quickly. And that's where most video production experts, they kind of focus on that first commercial, the one to get people into the company. But then you can't ignore the people who've seen that video, that commercial. And now we need to give them a little bit more value. Now we need to say things differently to capture their attention once again. And that's where content retainers come in and are very valuable to businesses today. And it's a value proposition very few people are doing, which will solve those cash flow problems and also solve those client acquisition problems, because no longer do you need new clients. You can just work with 5 clients on an ongoing basis for the course of multiple years and really help them grow and create consistent videos on an ongoing basis, which is also a very fun and engaging process, because you're creating new things every single week and solving that challenge for those business owners.
I love the idea of having clients on retainer and providing them content over the course of a long period of time. But the issue that I run into a lot of times is people come to me, especially in larger companies, and they have set budgets. And they'll come to you and they'll say, okay, we have X amount of money, 50,000, 100,000, 80,000, whatever. This is what we have to spend for the year. And what we want is a commercial. And in order to fulfill their vision of their commercial at the quality level that they want, you end up spending a lot more of that budget than really you would think. And if they're allocating 100,000 for a year's worth of content, but that can only afford one commercial, how are you working these negotiations to keep budget flowing through for video content for clients that only have a limited amount to begin with?
That's a fantastic question. It's a huge pain problem that I think a lot of video experts struggle with, is that idea of how do we, instead of becoming the person who's being dictated what to do, how do we become the person who's the trusted advisor explaining what we should be doing to a business owner, right? And that's a very different conversation. It's one of the things that we focus on a lot at Next Level Creators is, we put together, I've done over 1,000 sales meetings myself and my team put together in a variety of different industries, working with different businesses, from large companies with $100,000 budgets all the way down to a pizza shop with a $500 budget, right? And what happens is you have to make a distinction between being told what to do and being that advisor, in the sense of what is the objective of these videos in the first place. And that's the whole source of that conversation. So I talk about this a lot. Business and anything to do with being a video expert or a video production expert who wants to be selling to business owners and creating content for them on an ongoing basis, you have to learn how to run that conversation to where you're not just offering solutions all the time, but you're diagnosing problems. And what I mean by that is, let's just say we get into like the conversation we're having right now today, Ben. Like you said, one of your problems is these clients come to you with these big budgets, and then we're having a conversation on what we need to do to get beyond that, right? So we've diagnosed a problem, and now we need to work through what the solution's going to be to that problem. And so as we're diagnosing essentially what a business owner thinks they need, oftentimes it's not what they actually need, right? Like someone might come to you and say, here's the video I really want to create, but with your experience, that video, unfortunately, probably not going to get the attention of their market. You just have a little bit of insight. You don't think it would work. And because of that, you have 2 options. You can just sell them the video they want for $50,000 budget and produce it for them. Or you can say, well, listen, the way we should really do this is, what do you want this video to do for you? Right? What's the objective of this video? And then the business owner is going to say, oh, well, I want it to get my market's attention. Well, of course you do, right? So what's the reason you want your market's attention? Well, I want more clients. I want to grow. Okay, awesome. And then here's where some of the business acumen starts to come in of a video expert is you have to learn some dynamics of how businesses work, which the first question we always ask is, well, how much are you willing to spend to acquire one new client in your business? And oftentimes, especially at a larger company, they're going to know that number. And they're going to love the fact that you asked that question.
I love that question.
Because it shows that you're not someone who just cares about, the quality of the video. You're not someone who is only focusing on, telling a pretty story, but you're actually focusing on an end result, an objective the business owner cares about. And once we get that number, so let's say I'm willing to spend, $500 to get a $2,000 or a new car sale, right? At Volvo or something like that. Wonderful. That's how much you're willing to spend to acquire a new client on average. Well, how many new clients are you looking to bring in from this video? All right. Now, what we're starting to do is create separation between where the client is now and what their objective is, what their actual goal is, the transformation or the value of the video we're going to be creating for them.
I like that a lot. I think those types of questions they get to the root of what people want to do. And a lot of times people come to us, and I'm sure everybody in the audience has the same thing. People say, oh, I want to do a commercial. They're not really thinking, what they're saying is we want to promote our business, but the word commercial just kind of comes out. And they're not really thinking in terms of, well, that means 30 seconds, 60 seconds airtime on a network or a pre-roll ad or something like that. There's not a lot of thought about it beyond that. And I think they are looking to us as content creators and producers, directors to come up with a plan. I just the other day, what is today? Thursday? It might have even been yesterday. I had a conversation with a woman who wants to do a series of videos to promote a book. And I was talking to her about, how do people buy the book and yada, yada. And she showed me her website and all this other stuff. And I sort of talked her out of the video because I honestly was like, I think your money is better suited getting all of your website and your social media presence is up to par. Because if you're going to promote something, people need to, you're going to send people somewhere where they go needs to be interesting and needs to look good. And I was like, I just don't know if you're ready to drive traffic to your websites right now. They're not really there.
And Ben, right there shows something about your personality that I think a lot of your listeners really resonate with, which is you're not in this to be in a win-lose situation. And I talk about this a lot. A lot of the traditional video production industry is kind of this how can I get more? How can I get more? How can I get more clients? How can I make more money? How can I get higher value clients? And instead of thinking about yourself all the time, right? Instead of leading with how much am I going to get, I think that desire for service and that desire to help create a result and actually create videos that make an impact for your clients, it has to precede the desire for income for yourself. And the funny thing is, if that desire precedes the desire to make income, you're going to make far more income than you could ever imagine. Because you're going to be delivering results. You're going to be getting people what they actually want. And so, just huge praise to you for running that scenario the way you did. A couple lessons for you as well in that exact topic. You would be unbelievably surprised by how ugly something can be and still perform extremely well. And I get a lot of flack for this in the filmmaking community. I think just the other day, we had quite a few people just mocking some of the videos that I had shown in some of our commercial campaigns, saying, "Oh my goodness, like a sixth grader could with an iPhone could do that," and it's true. Right?
Was it your work that you put up?
Yeah. It was
so people were crapping on your work.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing, Ben. I don't mind. I don't care. You have to keep in mind the opinions of other people as to how your work is good or bad is irrelevant if the results of your work are great. And that's something I have to really work with a lot of our people on, is because everybody wants to shoot on the big cameras. Everybody wants to have access to the most expensive equipment. And although I'll say this, equipment and great video quality, it's an amplifier. It works incredibly well. It will amplify a powerful message by 100% in some cases. However, it's not necessary to get a very strong message across.
Hmm.
And so that's something, I mean, the guys over at Sandwich Video, they made an incredible tutorial on this. I recommend watching it to anyone. It's called Soapbox Wistia, where they're talking about different production sizes, what was possible, and looking at the campaigns from each of them. It's very fun. And so you have to
What's it called? I want to find it and put it in the show notes.
Sure thing. Yeah, it's on. Go to sandwichvideo.com.
I love Sandwich Video. They're so
Those
great.
guys, absolutely phenomenal people. Really fun as well. And yeah, just look up the Wistia commercial that they did on the different production budgets. It's a fun watch.
I got to get those guys on the show.
I
kind of forgot about them. Like, I was super into them for a while, and then they just sort of slipped my mind. But they're so good. All right, Soapbox. Oh, here it is. I'll put a link to this in the show notes, guys, so you can check it out. But if you don't know who Sandwich Video is, you really should. They're great.
They were one of my biggest inspirations when I was getting started.
Really?
Absolutely. I mean, the founder, I believe his name is Adam. I could be wrong there. But I saw this YouTube video of this guy sitting in a chair. I mean, it was shot on probably a phone. And he was talking in a very narrative director way. It was super funny. And I was like, holy cow. This guy created this really not beautiful, not high production, but it was interesting story. The message got across to me. And now you can see as his work has developed, as his storytelling capabilities have increased, the results of his work are phenomenal. High productions, beautiful quality, incredible stories. The animations are stunning. But not just that, you look at the results of his campaigns, his clients, their businesses are thriving because of the videos he's creating. And again, that is what he's focusing on. It's less, he doesn't lead with the quality of his work. He leads with the transformation, the result his videos are creating for those clients.
And it shouldn't be surprising to people, because you go on YouTube and you look at things that have millions and millions of views. And for the most part, they're not really these cinematic genius pieces. They're kind of just people talking. And people like personality. People like to learn something. But I say that, but there's been many times where I'm thinking about a project I'm working on, and I'm like, okay, what is the goal here? Is the goal to have this be the most beautiful looking thing possible, with the right, the right concept, the best acting, all this stuff? And oftentimes I look at it and I'm like, yeah, kind of, like that's really what I want. But I always have this conflict, because sometimes the best messaging isn't going to look that great, but it's going to make your client super happy because it's going to work. And there are a lot of instances of this, especially in local and regional TV advertising, where something that looks kind of crappy just gets people's attention, and it's stuck in their head, and it just works. And yeah, as filmmakers, you don't really want to be part of something that doesn't look very good. But if you're selling as part of your services, not just something that looks amazing, but something that works, maybe you can leverage that into, giving clients what they need sometimes, and not worrying so much about the way something looks.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, again, a powerful message, you don't need it to necessarily be the highest quality. But if you have a very powerful message, and this goes all into storytelling, all into understanding who the audience is. I always lead with content is king at the end of the day. It's the story that matters, not the pixels. And so when we think about that, if you have a powerful story, what is the purpose of quality? What is the purpose of going to these film schools and learning the quality? And I mean, there's so many online trainings and YouTube videos now on how to shoot beautiful, stunning video. It's amazing. What's the purpose of that, if not to amplify a powerful message? That's the purpose, right? You should aspire to create and create powerful, beautiful works of art, beautiful things, but you should also aspire to create a massive result first. If you do that, then it's the same thing that you see with the history of Sandwich Video. I mean, they're just, I always reference them because they're like the perfect case study. The videos weren't the highest quality in the beginning, but then you look throughout history, they've only gotten better and better, and the results are getting better and better because he's learning how to amplify that message. We're going through a lot of that right now. My own skill set, right? Like I come more from a a storytelling, sort of copywriting, script writing, directing background on a very basic, simple level, of course. And now I'm learning how to leverage higher quality productions to amplify those messages and get better results for myself, better results for my clients. And I have to tell you, it works wonders. So people who have this expertise, right? Just like you, Ben. When you have that expertise of how to do extremely high quality productions, if you add the way you could visualize it is you have this tool belt around your waist. And in that tool belt, you have so many tools and the skills and knowledge on how to use them for production, right? You're an expert there. If you add another pouch to that belt and you add distribution to that belt, you become 10 times strong. 1,000 times stronger. It's not 1 + 1. It's 1 times 100 or 1, times 1,000. And it's much bigger. You're exponentially stronger and exponentially more valuable to your clients.
So is part of what you suggest to these filmmakers that are trying to get things off the ground is to add distribution as a service that you offer?
It is a huge value add. And here's the thing, you guys, everyone who's listening, there are many ways to add more value to your clients that don't include you being the person doing everything, right? There's this myth, especially in the creative industry, that no one can do what you do. It's a myth and it's wrong, right? When it comes to distribution, the key is to understand what good distribution is, how to do powerful media buys. You have to know what it looks like, how to communicate a story effectively, how to get it in front of the audience, how the different platforms work like Facebook and Instagram and Google and all these things, which we see out there. And then it's how do we leverage our stories across those platforms? At that point, you can outsource the distribution and you'll know what it's going to look like. You'll know how to go in and check the campaign and say, all right, well, he's doing a good job. And here's the next 2 videos we're going to create for this campaign because we know they're going to do really well. And that's the beauty of it. So yes, again, you're adding value. And one of the things I absolutely love about distribution is you're not leveraging man hours or time, right? So when you're offering productions, you're selling time for money, which nothing wrong with that. Service industries exist for a reason. People need that. It's a huge, huge value add. But at a certain point, you hit a cap, right? You run into those issues where you're shooting and you can't market anymore. Run an issue where you're shooting and you can't sell anymore because you don't have the time to. So how do we start increasing your income and increasing your impact without you being there? And when we're offering distribution as a secondary add-on or an additional value add, you're leveraging this technology to run these videos, to get people's eyeballs on them 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. And by doing that, it just increases your value proposition massively. And again, you're not selling time for money because you're not doing the work. This technology is out there showing your ads, showing your messaging, and getting people to really engage and improve the impact of your work.
Let's take a moment and talk about Rule Boston Camera. Rule is the place to go to purchase and rent all of your production equipment. Their inventory is huge. It's insanely huge. Cameras, audio, lighting, grip gear, communications, camera dynamics, all of those things like Mobies and Black Arms and Easy Rigs and all the cool stuff you want to play with. And of course, a huge selection of lenses are all available there at rule.com for rentals. Of course, you can buy a lot of stuff there too. I bought tons of cameras there. But the big thing is the service that you get. You're going to get expert advice and counsel in pre-production. Now, that's super important. You need the technical guidance when you take out this equipment. You have to know how to use it. You have to be able to solve problems if they arise. And when you leave with your equipment from Rule, believe me, you're going to know everything you could possibly know about this stuff. And if you ever have a problem on set, they're always there. They've got your back. That's the reason that I keep going back there. I mean, you can rent and buy from other places, certainly, but Rule is going to give you that attentive service. They're going to make sure that your shoot goes off without a hitch. They want that to happen. They want you to have a successful shoot, you know? And if you're renting, it's probably because you don't own the gear. And if you don't own it, you probably don't know as much about it as you should when you go out there and start using it. So Rule's got your back. They've got the service, they've got the inventory, they have it all. So I suggest you check them out. Rule.com, RULE.com. So kind of putting this into action, production company gets a client. Client's like, yes, we want to do this retainer business with you. We'll do a video a month, whatever it is. Your suggestion is, in order to continue, showing the value of the work that you're doing, outsource the distribution in some way so that you can have like trackable success, something measurable success that you can then show to the client, and that will continue, them coming back to you. That all sounds great, and it sounds like a perfect situation. But when you think structurally, what does that actually mean? Like, just outsourcing your distribution is one thing. I wouldn't be able to follow up with something like that personally, me in my own time. So let's use me as an example. If I wanted to start selling the distribution in ad buys, what is the best first step to get involved in that industry and not have to suck up all of my time?
Sure. So of course, time is it's a valuable thing, and it doesn't matter who you are. If you're going to add a new value proposition, you're going to have to sacrifice either money and time. If you want to grow, period, you have to sacrifice.
Oh yeah.
There's no way around it. This whole idea that things are just going to come to you, just throw it out the window. So in your instance, the major thing is you're going to have to sacrifice some time, Ben. There's no way around it. Mm-hmm. And so you have to choose, is this the way you want to grow your business? Do you want to continue to do the things that you're doing now? Do you want to continue running the business you have now? And if you do, I mean, I am so happy for you. I never tell someone what to do, in the sense that, like, here's exactly what you should be doing because now you're going to be more successful. You're going to make a bunch more money. I mean, that's not the whole point of this. The point is to be happy doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what we got into this creative industry for in the first place. And if right now you're running a really successful production company, which of course you are, you have many clients, you're making great income. Of course I'm hypothesizing here. And now let's say that you want to get to another level. Let's say you want to take it and you want to double your business this year, right? Well, you can't expect to get that extraordinary of a result by doing things and thinking about things the same way you are now. You're going to have to look at, what are the other options? What are the alternatives here? And how can I continue to deliver massive value to my clients while getting my time back? And how can I do less and make more, in a sense? And that's the paradigm you're going to have to start to walk down that line of, well, right now, the way my business is set up is I'm shooting 2 weeks out, or 2 weeks. I'm doing post-production the next 2 weeks, every single month. I mean, I have no time left, Paul. I'm already working 12-hour days, 7 days a week. I can't do it, my friend. And I'd say to you, okay, that's great. So we're going to have to sacrifice you taking on all these clients to open up the space for you to start doing things differently. And that's going to be step number one, is having you be willing to do that. And from there, then we're going to have to look at what the options are and what the opportunities are for you. I always say, you're going to have to learn how distribution works. So you're going to want to learn from someone who knows what they're doing. I'm a huge proponent of mentorship. I've spent, at this point, more than most people ever spend on a college degree, probably 10 times that on mentors throughout my life who have taught me many, many great lessons and things. And because of that, I've been able to scale rapidly and wildly. And you're going to want to do the same thing. You're going to want to find someone who has a little bit of a different model where time and money aren't connected in the way they are now for you. And you can start to scale those and get different levers that you can pull on in your business to increase how much you're earning. If that's, of course, your number one objective. If you want to be shooting all the time, then you can keep doing what you're doing. You can transition to content retainers and scale that way. Where content retainers, just for anyone who's listening, this is a huge value nugget that I just think is really important. If you partner up with a large firm, a large company, someone who's rapidly growing, and they've got a really, really good media buying team, these people need you so desperately, it's not even funny. Okay. They need you so, so bad. I know it in my own business. I am always, always on the lookout for someone who not just is, a camera operator, but someone who is a copywriter, someone who's a scriptwriter, a director. They can come up with ideas, they can create them, they're engaging, they're fun, they're going to get my market's attention, bring them into me. And then I also need that other skill set, that distribution expert, that media buyers. We're always looking to bring them on as well, who are really skilled there. Because when those two things pair together, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, a commercial campaign is where you're doing both. A content retainer is when you can be partnering up with a company that already has that.
I like that a lot. In fact, something just recently in the past couple of months, we've decided that we are going to explore a partnership with a company that does a lot of market research. Because we figured that one of the things that we work a lot with ad agencies. So when we work with ad agencies, a lot of that stuff is done. They bring us in, we realize their vision, help them sort of maybe sometimes work their script to something a little bit more conducive to video, certainly work with them on budget because a lot of the times what they want to do doesn't fit the money they have. And we get the project done and then it's, off our hands. But for the projects that we do directly with clients, they're asking us to come up with creative. They're asking us to come up with a plan. And what we found is that a lot of times the creative is developed by talking with them, but not that much else. We're kind of relying on them to give us as much information about their company as they can. But what we found is that sometimes the people in the companies don't really know. They don't know what people think of them. They don't know what their standing is in the marketplace. So we've been trying to develop relationships with companies that do market research to help us identify the real problems that the company has and the real messages that they should be sharing. And, that's something that ad agencies do, but a lot of people like me that just have production facilities, we don't really do that. And it's something that I'm excited about for the new year. And it's encouraging to hear you say that partnerships are a big part of how you inspire people to grow.
I am a huge proponent of the right partnerships. Absolutely. If a partnership is going to increase value to the end client, they're highly valuable, how you leverage them. But you also have to be extremely careful about dicing your time up, because now having partners means managing partners. Yep. And a lot of people can easily get themselves into the trouble of, all right, well, I've got these, I see it all the time, especially. And there are different stages of growth as a entrepreneur, as a creative, going from someone who's never had a client before, right? You don't need to be thinking about the things that a lot of what you and I are talking about today, right? You should be thinking about something completely different. And to give someone the right visual for what success actually feels like when you're obtaining it is, I like to say it's like going on a really long road trip at night. Okay. When you get in the car, it's pitch black. You can't see anything. So what do? Well, you know where your destination is. Let's say you're driving 1,000 miles. And let's say in business, you want to get to 6 figures this year. Or you want to get to 250,000 this year and you're just getting started. You have to know what that vision is. Then you have to be flexible about which route you're going to take to get there. Because that's what entrepreneurship is. A lot of it is resourcefulness. It's being flexible with your time, your money, your resources that you're investing into this endeavor. But you will only ever at one point in time need to see about 100 feet in front of you because you have your headlights on. And that's focus. Focus is our most powerful asset. And what you really need to be thinking is, what do I need to be focusing on right now? And that's why I've kind of quantified those multiple different stages of growth depending on where you are at as a filmmaker, where you are with your value proposition, how many clients you have. And Ben, I mean, just for you, to give you an example, I would imagine that you prefer to work with clients that aren't coming from the ad agencies, but are direct clients to you. Am I right?
It's half and half. And the reason I say that is because when we work with ad agencies, I love the fact that the creative's been established. They know the messages that, well, I guess you never know for sure, but they've done the research as far as what messages they think are relevant to their clients. They generally have really good budgets, and it's part of a campaign. So you have the confidence in knowing that when the project is done, people will see it. That's what I love about working with ad agencies. What I love about working direct to client is that you have a little bit more creative control. You really feel like you're helping them because you're especially when you initially speak with them, those conversations that you have about trying to develop their messages and their branding and all that, it's a fun conversation to have. And we don't get to do that when we work with ad agencies because it's already done. So there are times where direct to client can be more fulfilling. There are times where it could be more profitable. But I really do like the ad agency relationship too. That's a very fun, that's a fun group to be part of. Like I said, because you know for sure your stuff's going to be seen.
Absolutely. And I agree with you there. Again, you have a partner who's doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of value offering for you. And then they're looking to you to be the trusted advisor in your core competency, which is that producing, camera operating, directing, and script writing, which is wonderful. It's a fun process. And I know I would just say the greater majority of the people we work with, they love that direct to client relationship. They love that idea of being there from point A to point Z, from the point of, all right, I'm going to help you craft the message. I'm going to help you with your branding. I'm going to help you with, who your audience is, the research that it takes to actually understand the customer. And by the way, I kind of chuckled over here when you said that most business owners don't really know what clients want. And that's so true. I see it all the time. And one of the things we have, and this is another kind of value tip, is if you are working with a business owner and you're going through that process from point A to point Z, point A is market research for that business owner, which means going above and beyond just talking to them. Okay. You can't expect the business owner to know everything. That's why they're bringing you on board. I mean, these people, I'll give you the example of a surgeon, right? A brain surgeon might not be the best person at communicating value. Right. If he's got he might not be the best person at coming up with ideas that are going to hook people who need that in and then get them to buy. He's a specialist at what he does. So how can you figure out what people want to see, what they want to hear about in this commercial or this video that you're going to do for this hospital or for this private practice for this individual? You should talk to their clients. Figure out what's important to them. There's no better research. There's no better way to come up with a message than to figure out what's actually valuable and important to their clients. And I can give a number of examples in terms of what we found. I mean, working with small businesses as small as massage therapists, right? A lot of people think that individuals go to get massage because they want to just relax. Well, what we found when we did research on my wife's previous business, she was a massage therapist we did a lot of work with, when we spoke to her clients, they were after actual change. They didn't want just to relax. Most of them were coming to her because they wanted to fix an ailment that was hurting them, back pain. They wanted to completely alleviate it, which led to a different value proposition entirely in the way she looked at herself and what she was able to give to her clients in her business, which of course increased her income and it made everything we were doing for her much more valuable, which was a lot of fun. And that is at the root of it. One of the major value adds you can bring is if you know how and where to look, where to focus, again, you can increase the value, you can make a bigger impact at the work that you're doing. So that, again, a testament to your knowledge there as far as clients not really knowing what their clients want, right? When you're developing that production and coming up with a creative for them. So that's a good little value nugget, I hope, for someone who's listening today who is doing from point A to point Z productions for their direct clients.
You are listening to the PremiumBeat.com Song of the Week. It's called Something in the Light by Oliver Liu. Premium Beat is where to go for thousands of royalty-free tracks for as low as $69 each. You heard me right, $69. And guess what? You don't just get the individual track, you get so much more. So much more. Because you're going to get loop sets, you're going to get cut downs at 5, at 10, at 15. They're all different. And now you're going to get stems, which is incredible because now you have access to the tracks, to the original tracks of this song. So you can customize your music to fit your project perfectly. But it's all about quality. If you don't have the quality, who cares, right? But at Premium Beat, that's what you're going to find. You're going to find tons and tons of great music. It's going to be super high quality, and it's going to fit your projects well. And that's why I keep going back there over and over and over again. And I suggest you do too. So head over there, premiumbeat.com. So let's take a moment to talk about Shutterstock. Shutterstock has over 13 million royalty-free video clips. 13 million, right? And they're estimating about 94,000 new clips are added weekly. So it's, if you can imagine the amount of clips, you can't even get your head around it. Now, the good news is those clips are really high quality, and many of them are in 4K, so you don't have to worry about sifting through a whole bunch of garbage. That's not the case over at Shutterstock. There's fantastic, really well-curated stuff. But I'll give you a little trick. What I do is I go to shutterstock.com/video. I hover over the footage tab, and I go immediately to Curated Collections. And the reason I do is because I like to kind of have a starting point. And Curated Collections is great because they have all these really well curated collections. Go figure. In all of these categories. And most of the time I'm finding a category that really fits my project already. So I start there. And then I know I'm kind of getting the stuff that really is really what I'm looking for. I also use it as inspiration just to cleanse the palate, see some different stuff, kind of get inspired. So that's where I start. But they have a new selection here, a new section called Shutterstock Select, which is so exciting because now they're kind of taking the best of the best of the best. This is the stuff that has that real cinematic look. It's the premium footage. Yes, you pay a little bit more for it, but it's worth the expense because it's the best of the best that Shutterstock has to offer. Again, you can explore their footage in some pre-selected categories already, which is great. But it's such a great opportunity to really hone in on the absolute top quality premium footage that Shutterstock has. And believe me, some of this stuff here is absolutely gorgeous. You will be blown away. So head over there, shutterstock.com/video. Look around, see what you can find. I know you're going to love it over there. They've got cool stuff. Even if you just want to look at it, it's worth your time. Shutterstock.com/video. Check out the new thing, Shutterstock Select, brand new for 2019. It's really impressive. All right, there's still more to talk about with Paul. Could you believe it? More to talk about, and it's all coming up right now. In our remaining 10, 15 minutes or so, I want to kind of go through the different steps of a production company's, I guess, business model, client relationship, whatever you want to call it. And to me, and you may disagree with this, but what I kind of put together on my own is I'm thinking, you got to find the client, then you got to do the work, you got to help them distribute it, and then you also need to promote yourself and your services. Those are the four things that I felt are, if I was going to put my business into four buckets, those are the things I'm focusing on all the time. Sure. And I'd love to get tips across each of those four things that our audience can kind of learn from or go to it for resources or anything that you can think about.
Sure. So I've got a perfect sort of visual for people in a way of explaining how a business should be set up as you're going and at the different stages of growth. Because again, where you are now will dictate what you should be focusing on. And if you don't know what you should be focusing on, you need to find someone who can tell you what to focus on in that stage. So we have a system, we call it the Creator's Operating System. It's what we, of course, work with our clients on. And I'll give everyone this is how it works, right? At the top of your business, right? Why do businesses exist? It's not because of the business owner. It's not because of you as the entrepreneur. In fact, business has very little to do with you. It's all about value. So at the top of the Creator's Operating System, if you looked at the visual, it's like the roof of the house is value creation. And you need to know what your value that you're creating is, right? Are you there to create the most beautiful visuals in the world? Are you there to tell the most funny commercials in the world? Are you there to tell dark, moody stories for people? Are you trying to make documentary films? Like, there's so many different value propositions that exist in the world. You need to know what yours is. Then beneath that, you have the functions of a business. There are 4 of them that you need to have systems for. And depending on what level of or stage of growth you're at, you need to focus on a different one. But the first function is marketing. And like you said, it's that, how do I get the attention of my ideal clients and, convert them into a meeting, or convert them into a qualified prospect who wants to potentially work with me. And I'm a huge proponent that you shouldn't be trying to sell things online, e-commerce, when you're in the service and filmmaking value proposition. You should have a conversation with people. You should either meet in person, do a video call, or do a call over the phone. And so the question I would urge everyone to ask themselves is, do you rely on hope that people are just going to come in and want to work with you? Or do you have a system in place where you know that if you do these activities, you're going to have another qualified lead coming to work with you, in the next couple days? So do you have hope, or do you have a system? Right? Now, if you don't have a system and you're relying on hope, and another way of saying hope is like networking, sort of word of mouth, referrals. If you're just hoping the phone's going to ring, it's a very dangerous way to run your business. Okay. If you know and you're very good at networking, hey, I can go to 4 networking events a week, and that always results in 3 meetings or 4 meetings, and I typically convert 1 and 2 of those meetings. Phenomenal. Now you're starting to develop that system that's right for your business to grow. Now, of course, in your case, Ben, a system that we would talk about for at your level is you need to start automating that type of attraction to your business, because you don't have the time. You're shooting, you've got clients coming in. So again, we don't want to rely on word of mouth or networking. What we often do is we'll create automated systems for outreach, automated systems where it takes very little time for you. You're not constantly networking, but you're constantly growing that network. You're constantly bringing new people into your value proposition and having them get engaged on their own time, because you're leveraging, marketing for yourself. You're leveraging either paid ads. We're leveraging some outreach system. Maybe we have a salesperson or a marketing prospector for you. But there's many ways to do that and solve that problem in your organization. So again, top of the creator's operating system. What's your value creation, value proposition? Next, we have marketing. Are you relying on hope, or do we have a system? Okay. When we're at a stage 1 business where you're a generalist, you're trying to get that first couple clients, what you want to be thinking about is, how do I get meetings? Okay. If we're to say income producing activities for you, number 1 on that list for you is, I've got this value I want to bring to the world, but if no one hears it, no one responds to it, you're not leading anyone. You're not giving value to anyone. You have to learn how to market yourself. That's number 1. Then we move into the second function, which is sales, and that's converting people into clients, right? So you've done this marketing, you've attracted people to you. Now we need to convert these people. Again, are we relying on hope, or do we have a system for converting the people we're bringing into our business into paying clients? And a lot of people, when they get into a sales meeting, they're going to be saying different things. Oh, here's my idea for your video. Here's how this would work. Oh, you know what you want, so I'm just going to shut up. Tell me what you want, and I'll say yes.
Yeah.
Right? So again, hope is saying tons of different things because you don't really know what you're trying to accomplish. And oftentimes, if you don't have a value proposition you're offering, you're all over the place. You'll have people who want weddings and music videos and commercials and then this, that. So how do you price yourself? How do you run that conversation consistently? Well, we could see that the value proposition you offer, the marketing you're doing to bring people in, and then the sales mechanism, we have to have that system there so where it's predictable. We know what to say. We know how to run that conversation. And I realize a lot of creatives, their biggest fear is becoming off salesy. Right. I don't know, but have you ever had that thought where you're like, I don't want to be inauthentic. I don't want to push people for the sale?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, because, and the reason is because I want them to, I want to be perceived for to be a creative. You know what I mean? It's like I want them to come to me not because I sold them something, but because they think I'm the best person for the job. I'm going to have some insight. I'm going to, be able to put together a really good production and come up with creative ideas. So,
absolutely.
And yeah, you got to sell those things, but you don't want to be a salesman. You want them. For me, I'm talking about. I want people to see me as somebody that can certainly talk about my successes and what I've done and what I can do for them. But I want them to understand that I'm a creative at heart.
Absolutely, and I 100% agree with you. And that's why knowing how to run a conversation where in and of itself, the conversation that you have is of value to the other person, not just you. That's what we focus on, right? It's how do we get a system in place where the conversations you're having with your clients, they show them real value. And by the end of it, it's just a matter of, well, are you committed to working with me to achieve this result? And the person can say no. There's no pressure on them. It's not salesy. It's not sleazy. We're not using a bunch of negotiation tactics. I've found that none of that stuff actually works.
Yeah.
What works far better is actually having a conversation that's valuable in and of itself. And then at the end of it, making an offer, offering to help them achieve their dream of having the perfect video or the right video for their business or the right video for their wedding, right? It could be anything.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And so we do a ton of work in that space, and that's why you have to again ask yourself, hope or system, and that's the sales function. So now we've got value creation, marketing, getting people in, sales. The third function is value delivery, right? We call that operations. So now that you've got these clients coming into you, we need to ask again, do we have hope or a system in place? Am I just going around and shooting these videos with no real system in place? I don't know that I need to do market research. I need to do script writing. I need to go and produce this video. Then I need to do the post-production. What's our process? If there's no process in place, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to know how profitable you are. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to get the end result for the client. And so we create workflows with our clients there to make sure that there's a system in place for all of their work they're doing with their clients. And that way you're going to be able to find efficiencies. You're going to be able to improve your business model and scale it. So again, hope or system on operations. And the fourth function is finances. And this is one of the really, really big ones that people struggle with when they're making their offers, they're making their value, conversations with people, is they struggle to know what to charge, right? What do I charge for this? How do I charge for this? How do I value it? What's the real, what is the real value in this? And so it's coming up with how much profit am I going to make? How much do I need to be charging at a minimum for each of my clients for me to hit my revenue objectives for the year, right? And most people we find kind of just price themselves willy-nilly. There's no system in place for it. This video I'm going to shoot is based off of the number of hours I'm going to work. Some people over here in left field would be saying, I've got 35 years experience in video production, so now I'm going to charge this, right? Not realizing that, hey, that value proposition, that's all about you, not your client.
Yeah.
Your client, they like your work. That's why they're in the meeting. You don't need to be talking about how many years of experience you have as to why you charge this much. Like that's not real value to them. The value is what you could produce for them, the end result. So we need to make it about that. We need to know what our prices are going to be. And I always like to say it's not the maximum that you make that matters in business, right? If you get $100,000 production, but your average is a $500 video, you're a $500 video production expert, right? So we have to think about those minimums. We have to think about how we're creating that value. And if we're relying on hope for your business or if we have a system in place.
Those are great. I mean, that really is culminating everything that a production company does. And I think those are the areas that people need to focus on. And I love the fact that during operations, you were saying that, it's a good way to get your operations in place so you know how much you've made. seriously, for like the first 5 years of my business, I had no idea what I made until the end of the year, when all the money, when you actually work things out. You truly, in this business, and I'm sure a lot of people listening can understand, you just don't know until you've worked the numbers at the end of the year. Like, we didn't have a system in place to know, did we make profit? I don't know. And there were many times that we didn't, because I'd be like, nah, let's rent this camera, let's do this, let's hire all these people because I want it to look as good as it can. And then there's projects that happened in the early years, and I'm like, I made no money. Like, I lost money on this.
That's a really, I mean, the fact that you said that, it strikes such a chord in the hearts of filmmakers all around the world. And it's funny because a lot of our guys, when we start working with them, one of the first things I have them do is I have them sell their cameras.
Wow.
And that might sound quite shocking to a lot of you. And you might say, Paul, get out of here, right? I don't, of course, the clients I'm working with, they care more about doing what they love, which is shooting video and providing for their families in the process and living a great life. So some of our guys, they had multiple Red cameras, but we looked at the amount of debt that their company had. You know, they had everything under the sun, and they were in about $100,000 in camera equipment debt. We had them sell that equipment, go get some GH5s where they could produce still great quality for their clients, comparable. They learned those cameras through and through. Then they were only in about, $15,000 in debt at the end of it for the multiple cameras. And then we focused, okay, well, let's get your marketing, let's get your sales up and running. They paid off the cameras in just a couple months, shooting with clients just as big. They pivoted the content retainers and working on an ongoing basis with their clients. Now they're not constantly stressing about where money's coming in, so there's some predictability there. And you're right, it is to ignore the language of business and only focus on the language of content and production is a very dangerous thing to do.
I love that. This has been such a great eye-opening interview. I mean, I really like the stuff that you're doing. And it's weird because, like I said earlier, I kind of saw you everywhere. You're all over Facebook and Instagram, I'm sure other places, but that's just where I kind of heard about you. And then I'm looking into it, I'm like, okay, so this guy's trying to, teach people how to grow production companies. What is this all about? I learned a little bit more. And now speaking to you, it's like, this could be extremely valuable to the people listening to this show. And that's why I wanted to make sure that you came on, because I think a lot of people saw you, didn't really know what it was. And I'm glad you had the opportunity to, tell us about what you do and how you can help, because a lot of production companies die on the vine. I'm telling you, people don't make it in this industry. It's hard to do. And I think it's because a lot of people that are creative aren't business minded. We're not. I'm not. Creatives just don't have that type of mind. And we need to learn how to do that. We know how to make pretty pictures. We know how to tell good stories. You need to know how to run a business, or at least enough that you can be profitable for yourself. Even if you don't want to grow, just profitable enough for yourself so you can continue doing what you love and actually make enough money to only do that. And you need help. You do. And people like Paul and your services here, and we're going to get to where they go to sign up and all that. These are the things that can make you successful. And these are the things that can make it so that you can actually do this for a career and not have to worry about getting a regular job, a 9-to-5 to pay your bills. You can do what you love. And that's the real sign of success. And I truly do think that what you're doing, Paul, with your classes here and your there's all sorts of stuff, and I want you to talk about it in just a second. But what you're doing with your filmmaking, business mastery classes, I guess we would call it, is teaching people how to do what they love and actually be able to do it for real. And that is something that I really find admirable.
I greatly appreciate that. And for anyone who's listening, you have to remember there's a lot of myths out there in the world. There's a lot of things that people will tell you, like, oh, it's a dime a dozen. I mean, no one makes it in this industry anymore. A lot of people say it's all about luck and being in the right place at the right time. There are so many sayings, it's about who you know, not what you know. And I want you to start to question those things and take a different viewpoint. Start to think for yourself, because most of those things are false. It's not luck, okay? Business and success are not luck. It's about doing the right things, focusing on the right things, and putting in the work and committing to yourself that you're going to pay attention and work hard. And if you do that, you will be successful. So whether, of course, you take one of our classes, you go and learn from someone else, make the commitment to yourself. In one decision, you can change your entire life. I've done it time and time again. When I quit my 9-to-5 job, everything about my life changed. I became a struggling artist. I realized being a creative with no business skills was like having a camera without a lens. I'm not very valuable. So you have to put in the work to do whatever it is you want to do. And like you said, I call it the point of sufficiency. Once you start making enough profit to support your lifestyle, whatever that number may be for you, you're in LA, maybe it's 10K a month. If you're in Utah, maybe it's 2. But I want you to get there. I wish you the best. I hope this conversation's been helpful to you.
So where do people go to learn more about you, to sign up for some courses? Where do they go?
Yeah. So to learn more about me and what we do at Next Level Creators, just go to Google, type in Paul Xavier. You'll see me up at the top. It's mrpaulxavier.com. And we have some free trainings. We have a free webinar on there. We have multiple free trainings because, again, I practice what I preach. I believe that leading with value is always the best way to, bring the right people to your business to work with. And then from there, if you really like what we're all about, you can book a call with me or someone on my team. We give away free 1-hour calls, or we call them strategy sessions, where we actually map out what you can do as a filmmaker and a creative to, immediately get to that point of sufficiency. And the fastest route for you to do that, depending on what stage of your business you're at and whether you need to stop selling time for money or whether you need to get that first client. So we would love to hear from you, love to work with you, and head on over there, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
It's a free hour that you guys do?
Yeah, we do an entire free strategy session for an hour. And again, that's just a part of my philosophy, is lead with as much value as possible. So there's no obligations to work with us at the end of it. We're going to devise a plan for you on what you can do to start monetizing your passion. Some of the, and I'll say this, guys, we don't believe in bullshitting people. A little bit of harsh language here, but you have to
I'm
know.
I'm deeply offended. How dare you? How dare you litter my airwaves with that filth?
I can't believe it, Ben. I'm sorry. Yes. You have to be willing to hear the hard truth. And that's all of my team leaders. That's what I believe in. I believe if you're just going to play the victim and say, because of your circumstances, your environment, the people you can't charge this much. You can't do this. Every single one of those cases, we have someone who will prove you wrong. People who live in 10,000 people towns, crushing it. People who live in big, big cities, crushing it, even though no one knows who they are. And you have to stop playing the victim. You have to take control. And on those strategy sessions, we're going to get real with you and help you see where those mistakes are happening. And if you're willing to listen, you can make some decisions and big changes in your production company and life. So we'd love to have one with you.
I love it. Paul Xavier, mrpaulxavier.com. We'll put it in the show notes, of course, but you guys just head over there. Check it out. Get your free training. Why not? It's free. And learn and grow. It's 2019. It's 2019. This is the year. This is the year to make it for you guys. Paul, thank you so much for being on the Go Creative Show. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot. Was this my 1-hour training? I think this now counts as my 1-hour strategy session.
You can get another one if you would like one, Ben, where we'll go a little more in depth.
I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you so much for being on the Go Creative Show. We'll have to have you back. And good luck with all of the work that you're doing. I think it's really great and beneficial to our filmmaking industry. So thanks for being out there.
Right now is the right time. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Ben.
There he goes, Paul Xavier. So happy to have him on the show and kind of get us all inspired. I know I am. I left that interview and I'm like, all right, let's do it. I felt I had like all fire inside to go and make 2019 the best year ever. And I believe it's going to be for us and for you. I believe it. How about that? Go to mrpaulxavier.com, mrpaulxavier.com for all the information about Paul. And while you're on the internet, Check out gocreativeshow.com and check out Matt Russell, because Matt mixes and masters and make this show sound so good, and he can do for us, he can do for you what he does for us. He's for hire, people. Gainstructure.com, gainstructure.com, and on Twitter @gainstructure. Hire that boy. Of course, our sponsors, Hedge.video, Rule Boston Camera, News Shooter, Shutterstock, and Premium Beat. The show wouldn't exist without them, and that'd be sad. That'd be super sad. So support those that support us, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.